What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and today we got an update notification about the update that's going to be coming out next year, and we have got a remix and refine for legendary Micaiah and legendary FAE. So Micaiah has got Prescience 2 now, and at sort of turn it is going to be checking for the highest stats on the enemy team, just like, Attune Micaiah, but she's going to be inflicting the sabotage and panic status on those foes, and also -7 debuff. And then it splashes to the foes in 2 spaces of them, so it's really good for the support, and this is not going to be relying on any kind of resistance check, even though her resistance is really high, so it does make it flexible. And then she also inflicts -5 attack speed and resistance debuff on the foe. She's got the sabotage speed resistance built in as well, where it is going to be giving her more penalties depending on the debuffs, and then she has got 30% pierceable damage reduction except for the AoE specials, and she also has Null Guard. So this is a pretty decent remix, giving the debuffs on the enemies without really any kind of resistance check, and she could easily run Pulse of Ploy or any kind of ploy skill and debuff the enemy further with more negative status effects like exposure and ploy. So there's not much of an overlap compared to Attune Micaiah, and that's why, Attune Micaiah doesn't really want to run a ploy skill compared to the other skills that she can run. And here, Micaiah is going to be needing a really good weapon refine because her weapon is kind of weird with a Desperation 2 effect. I mean, Desperation could work, but it needs to be, something that can work at full HP, because she's mainly going to be trying to kill these Far Saviors. So hopefully she could get the Dominance effect, because I've seen like they've given this Dominance effect to Yoon, to Bridal Micaiah, so I hope that she also has it. And Attune Micaiah also has a ton of true damage, so it is something you need, and she's always going to be getting compared to Attune Micaiah. There's just no saving it unless they also give her, Omni Guidance or, some kind of cleansing. But I feel like they might pull a Ninja Selene where they give her the Aerial Maneuvers Warping instead of the Omni Guidance. So that could happen. And then for her remix skill, she gets Time Pulse 4. Unfortunately, Pulse Ploy was not something that was given to her. That would have been perfect, as she could debuff the enemy and use her resistance, and she already comes with Fury 4, but I guess that was too recent of a skill. So Time Pulse 4 I guess might help if she has got some special jumping in her refine, because she doesn't have a -1 special cooldown weapon, which she could also get on her refine. A lot of units do. And then we have got the remix to legendary FAE with her Life Unending 2, and this is extremely powerful remix. So this is basically a miracle effect that is pre-charged at sort of turn 1, and it is going to be giving you the 99 HP healing when the miracle is triggered. And now it also has 40% damage reduction on the first hits, and keep in mind this is unpierceable damage reduction because this is built into the special. And then she has got damage reflection by any source, so this is the stackable damage reflection and not the limited scope damage reflection like Calyx Weapon Refine or Counter Roar. So this is incredibly powerful with Miracle because you're going to be reflecting all of that damage back. And the main weakness of this special was that it didn't have a lot of damage output, but now it gets fixed, and it's like so good because she can run High Dragon Wall or any kind of Spiked Wall scale or even Lagu's Friend, and all of that damage is going to be reflected back as she's going to be surviving. And the healing which I was talking about is now completely immune to the Deep Wounds effect, and it is going to be triggering 2 turns after. So every other turn basically, as that turn where it triggers is going to be getting counted probably, and this means that it is no longer once per map. So this is really helpful for Summoner Duels and also for arena usage. She is so reliable as a tank with this, and the fact that she's completely immune to the Deep Wounds effect for her healing is so helpful because she could have that extra life basically. And usually we see these kinds of Deep Wounds reduction effects which reduce the effect of Deep Wounds by 50% or 60%, but she completely ignores it, like Hathran's Divine Nectar. So you don't have to worry about her not healing any HP and then her getting sniped by another enemy. So this is a really good remix, and she is going to be so much better. Hopefully she gets a good refine because her weapon isn't really anything special. Any kind of flat damage reduction in her weapon is going to be helping her quite a lot. And she could also get like some kind of scale effect built in her weapon because she does come with distance stance as a slotted skill. And she gets dragon scales as a remix skill, so a relatively newer skill that was introduced on Halloween, Nagi, and Idun. And we already know the relationship of Idun and FAE, which is extremely endearing. So here she's going to be getting that, and this gives you a lot of debuffs, like up to -11 attack, defense, and resistance debuff. And her mix bulk is really good, so she is a good user of this skill. She also gets the guaranteed follow-up attack out of this. I think many people that already have Laguzfriend are still going to be wanting to run it, and many players who got High Dragon Wall for arena scoring are also probably going to be running it, but this is overall a really good skill for her playstyle and for, just giving her the missing pieces that she didn't really have in her special or her weapon, and they could insert some other effects in her weapon refine instead of having it occupy these effects which are present in Dragon Scales. I would also really like if her weapon refine completely neutralizes any kind of debuffs on her, because that is again going to be a reference to Idun. So it could happen, and she is still a pretty nice scoring Earth Legendary unit. And then we have got the other weapon refines. Thankfully, the next month we're going to be getting 7 refines, and Sonia is going to be getting one. And she just got a Fimble Vetter instead of bolting, which I think is present on her FAE art. So that's a bit confusing. So I'm guessing that she is going to be just having a lot of attack and resistance debuffs. She could even have the flat damage reduction like Ileana because she does have good mix bulk. She could even have, true damage based on it. And I think I would really like Essence Drain on her as a status effect. Because, Nurgle is already kind of countered with Dosage status of, Nidhogres that we have got. So, giving it to Sonia would make sense as she could try and steal the Quintessence. I would absolutely love it, and she would be an extremely unique free-to-play unit, unlike before where she didn't really have any kind of differentiating factor. And then we've got a free-to-play demote refine in Lex. He does have a dual-phase Brave weapon, and he could be a really good unit if they just give him some decent effects. They could give him the hard treatment and give him the flat damage reduction based on his defense. He has really high defense, so that could work out. And maybe give him true damage, which is what they didn't give to Har. And he could even have Null Guard because that is usually not that easy for the Cavaliers. And, any kind of other extra stats are going to be fine for him. Usually the dual phase Brave weapons are kind of hard to mess up in my opinion. And you could easily run him with Cigarette Ring, get the Canto and the extra movement. And he could function really well if they just give him some basic effects that you need on a Brave weapon unit. And then we have also got Halloween Xane, who was the 4-star focus, and he was a really popular unit back then because he would just copy the visible stats of his allies, and that was a really unique gimmick. Of course, that didn't really last all that long because the actual effects are also needed, but instead of giving him an insane refine, I think they could just try and focus on making it fun, and maybe they could increase the space that he copies these stats from. So instead of 2 spaces, it could be 3 rows and 3 columns, and they could even give him great talent so that he gives the great talent to his allies and not to himself. So after each combat, he increases the stats of his allies, and then he gets extra stats for himself in the combat. That would be really cool. They could even give any kind of visible buffs that he could give out to the allies. That could make him support. And I would also like some kind of copying of status effects, kind of like Tina, but only on your allies so that he gets these status effects. So all of those things are going to be quite fun if they are able to do it. I would also like the proxy bonus doubler or the true damage, kind of similar to Ashera, so that he can use the visible buffs of his allies and get those things. So I hope that this can be fun like Merlin is. And then we also have a refine for Selena. She does have the full null follow-up in her weapon, and I remember when she came out, I used to use her so much on my Aether Raids defense, but the main thing that she was still lacking at that time was the fact that she didn't have enough damage output. So she needs some true damage really, really bad, and she is probably going to be having a full offensive weapon. I wouldn't mind if they give her the flash status like Summer Selena, because at least she's going to be able to provide some support instead of being just an offensive cavalier. So they could try and go that route. We also finally have the refine for Ronan. He does have unusually high resistance for an archer, and he was one of the few archers of that time with this kind of stat spread. But of course now we do have other archers, so they could just try and give him the extra movement. I think that would be really fun. But if they are not wanting to give that, then at least they could try and give the effect similar to Carrot Bow. That is such a good inhittable weapon for these high resistance archers. So he could take a page out of that book and try and be productive with his resistance. And it would be funny if in the combat he makes the enemy have the reverse adaptive damage so that they always target his resistance. So with these kinds of lopsided units, that is something that could be done just to make it more fun. And in February, we're going to be getting Young Innes as the Grail Refine, which a lot of people are going to be looking forward to. He was one of the earlier units that gave us the taste of damage reduction piercing when it came to the free-to-play side of things. Halloween Tiki is definitely going to be getting it in February because Xane and Grima already got it before her, so now only she is left before we continue to Ninja Levitain and Duo Lin. And in February, they usually refine the free book OC, so Ash is going to be there, and Legendary Nana likely as well. It could even be Medius, but I think Medius might be saved up, so I think Nana might get her chance first, and then there's going to be Legendary Sita and Elimine in March. So these are the refines that you could look forward to if this month doesn't really excite you that much. We also have the Limited Ephemera manuals, and Kadean Ursula is pretty much going to be the best one as she provides you with Panic Smoke 4 and also a tier 4 chill scale. So Panic Smoke 4 has gotten a bit better now with the Emblem Lin Ring because you can attack from a huge distance and give the foe penalty doubler status to your entire team. So I do think that it has got more value now, and its prerequisite is easily available in the Grail pool. And if you want a tier 4 skill just for the scoring, just for the namesake, then I guess you could, grab this kind of chill skill. But yeah, Panic Smoke is definitely better and kind of nice with a lot of the range units. And we also have Hatari Carla. She does provide you with Special Spiral 3, which can be the prerequisite for Spiral 4, which definitely faces competition now when it comes to damage reduction piercing, as we have got magical null follow-up, tempo, physical null follow-up, resonance, and stuff like that. But you can definitely try and get Odd Tempest as a prerequisite for Endless Tempest, which is an extremely good skill because of its Dalol effect. For the 4-star combat manuals, we have got Summer Dedu. He can make fantastic use out of Giant Axe if you're merging him, but as a fodder, he does give you the Solid Ground skill. We don't really have the crystalline version of this skill, but maybe when we do, this is going to be a bit more valuable. And we also have Inigo, who can give you attack speed form 3, which is a decent skill at budget. And Null Blade can pretty much be Arcane Devourer at home with its full null follow-up effect, so that can be helpful if you lack it. And then Silas is going to be giving you reposition as always. And we also have Robin giving you Bonfire. Anything else is not really all that useful on him. And Matthew doesn't really give you anything. I mean, you're really not going to be using Reciprocal Aid nowadays, even with a lot of the Vantage units who could just try and run Paranoia plus status of Brave Bernie. We also have some new Memento events with Alphonse and Summoner being in the Flower Field, and Aether Raids is being updated where Bride Shrine is going to be upgradable to level 13. They're going to be adding 2 new songs into the concert hall with Tethys theme from Sacred Stones and Brodians Are Robust Fishers, which is the fishing theme obviously from Engage. And the favor level is going to be increased to 5,100 in Summoner Duels. And we're going to be having Ninja Noir and Zeiss in the Grail pool. They've also done some changes to the damage artwork of Vida, which is pretty soon, I think. She just came out this month itself. But for the curious viewers who are trying to find the difference between these two images, here's the change that they've done. So this is the before, and then I've encircled the change in the after image. So they have just added a scar on her right breast basically, and that is the only change they have done with this artwork change. No idea why they have done it, but I did try my best to, scientifically analyze this and peer review it myself so that none of you are wondering about such life-changing questions. So this update is going to be coming out on January 6th. It is going to be happening after the Summoner Duels R has ended, so it is going to be happening around the reset. So it is going to be a bit late than usual. So I want to thank all of my YouTube members for their constant support, and you could click the link on the screen right now to check out my breakdown of the Emblem Lin banner. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as Pulse Ploy being given to legendary Micaiah as a remix skill. So with that, let's see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.